Welcome back everybody to MicroNova Metals. Today is a different kind of day. I have taken on my first toll client and I am processing e-waste and this Karat scrap here, which is what I'll be demonstrating today. I'm pretty much done with the e-waste except for a couple things that may still be in solution and some of that to decant off and to add to the total melt. And just waiting on more stainless chloride to show up in the mail. It will be anytime in Saturday or a little bit beyond there. But we're going to go ahead and add this to my beaker back here. And I've had a few changes. I've finally ditched my dinosaur phone. And so I don't have a stand to put this one on yet. My other one had a magnetic back to it. So lots more memory to deal with and hopefully a lot less editing problems, but I'm going to get this covered up with some distilled water and get a reaction going. Okay, and for those of you who have been with me, you know that I make my own red fuming nitric acid. So this is a 90 to 95% concentration. So I'm going to add this in. I don't have any heat on just yet. I've got about 30 ml right here, and I'm just going to put about half of it in right now. And red fuming will give a reaction just for being in water, so nothing crazy happening in there. So I'm just going to head and add the rest. And because this is Inquarted gold, the only thing we're going to be dissolving here is silver with this nitric acid. I wonder, can you guys see the fumes coming off of that? Yeah. Have to have a fume hood, guys. I know people who do this stuff outside think that it's good enough, but I think it's way, way, way too dangerous. So, okay, we'll add some medium heat onto this and give it time to start doing its work. And I thought that while we're waiting for our reaction to kick off, I would show you this and get this fired up. So this one right here was some partially refined material that a new refiner got stuck on, and I'll try to remember to put the video in here what it looked like when I first got it. But I finished the refining for him, and this is double refined, and I have exactly 5 grams. And this one here is actually from e-waste. It's from the foils, so that's looking good. I did put this one in a sulfuric acid bath. It was 10% distilled water and I'm sorry, it was 90% distilled water and 10% sulfuric acid, and I did the same with this one. This one just has little divots from the borax that came off after I put it in the bath. But they're looking good. Happy to have that that first client happy with what's being going on here. Okay, we are no more than 15 minutes into this reaction, and there's some fumage going on, and that solution down there is mostly blue, and it's going to be that because I used refined silver to put that to inquart that gold. So any copper that ends up in this is by and large going to be during the final refining phases from the Karat scrap when we put it into aqua regia. But for now, we got a lot of condensation, we got some fumage going on. I don't rush these things on high heat. Nothing good happens fast, and I've got all day. This is what I'm doing. I got all day tomorrow, as a matter of fact, so we'll do a quality job here. We're about half an hour into the reaction now, and what you're seeing here is it's actually happening pretty quick. And when I inquarted this, I did not do it to the exact science of making the Karat scrap down to 6K with the inquartation. I had some silver from the refined silver from the blob project that got contaminated with copper in the crucible to a very, very small degree. So I added in over twice of what I needed to. And so our next step, when this is when all the silver is dissolved and the reaction is done, is we'll go ahead and decant off through a vacuum flask, and that blue solution will have our silver in it. But at this point, this reaction is you know, not boiling strong because I don't have it boiling. We're going to use that nitric to its fullest extent, and when the reaction is over, I will add some more, just a little bit more of nitric to it, a few mils, to see if it creates another reaction. If it does not, then it's time to decant. About 45 minutes into the reaction, we're chugging along. It's boiling right now because it's just reached that heat on the medium level, and the reaction is adding to that appearance of it boiling. So not much to report except that it's going as it's supposed to go. It's been about another 20 minutes. Looks like the reaction is starting to wind down. There's still some fumage being produced, but this is meaning to us that the silver is either very close to being dissolved or the nitric is being expended. It's not spent, I can tell you that, because we still have fumage going on. But give me a second, I'm going to lift that plate and see how quickly the fumage comes back. Okay, let's clear the fumes. Nice, beautiful blue solution. That's going to be, when it's all done, there's going to be 25 grams of what's probably 2/9 fine silver that's already in there. And I do see the fumage coming back. We'll give it a minute or so, see how much comes back. 2 minutes later, fumage has come back. Looks a little lighter, but it's again just chugging away, doing its job. Okay, we are getting a very weak reaction at this point, so very soon we're going to get to the point where I'm going to do my two usual things. Is I'll add a little distilled water to the solution to see if the silver just needs more room to grow inside the solution. And if that creates no reaction whatsoever, then I'll just put a little bit of nitric in there to see if that does. If it does create a reaction with the nitric, then I'll let it play itself out and just do small dosings. But we're getting towards the end of this one. Okay, so I'm back after having to step away for about 3 hours. I shut the reaction down. The heat is back on it. It's warm enough so there should be a reaction going on, and it's not happening. So I don't want to say supremely confident, but I'm more than confident that there's enough liquid in that to absorb 25 grams of silver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to add a little more nitric to it and see what we get, how much reaction we get. Okay, so there's 20 milliliters in the beaker. Just not sure if I'm going to add it all in or not. I don't want to deal with as much as 20 milliliters of free nitric, so yeah, that's about right. I'd say roughly 10 just went in. Give it a little swirl. And we'll see if we get a reaction. Okay, here we are 15 minutes later. I went ahead and added the rest of that 20 mLs of nitric acid, and we do have a reaction going on right now. I thought it had completed a little too quickly. Not that it should take forever, but I thought it was a little quick. So here we go. and I'll just keep dosing it until I don't get a reaction anymore. So I was just listening and watching the video that I've created so far, and realized earlier I had stated that the only things we dissolving here is silver, and coppers and stuff will come out later during the refining process. I just got my wires crossed on that. The whole point of inquarting is to make the Karat scrap low enough so that the nitric can penetrate all the pores and weak Karat level to take out all base metals, and that's copper included. So, you know, once in a while I get my wires crossed, but you get the point. So we do have a reaction going on right now. It's a little bit weak, but I've also put very little nitric in there, so I'm going to add more. I've got roughly 40 in that small little beaker, you know, right there, and I'm going to add half of that right now to see if I can get a vigorous reaction, because it dawned on me that there's more here to dissolve than what I stated earlier. And I'm just going to do this slow. That's not normal splashing for anybody who doesn't know. That was about 10 ml. And we're going to let it sit there. All right, I'll check back in soon. I went ahead and added the rest of that 40 mLs of nitric acid because it was just a small reaction, but one there just indicated to me that there was more dissolving to be done. So I went ahead and emptied that nitric into there, and now the reaction is much more vigorous and just kind of affirms that there were more base metals yet to be dissolved. Okay, so it's been a couple hours since I've done anything to this at all. Got some fumage going on. I'm gonna release the fumes real quick. Alright, let's see what regenerates. Because at this point, it's definitely going to need either more nitric or it's going to need hydration. When I said it had earlier, when I said it had more than enough water in there to absorb the silver, that was not taking into account the copper that is more than likely in that jewelry as well. So, okay, we are getting some fumes back. It's a little hard to see. I'm going to put this on pause and add some more and see what we get. I'll put about 10 more mil in there. Okay, nitric added. It just looks like it needed more nitric. I mean, it's not a huge surprise. This process should be taking hours and hours at this point, but we want to make sure we get it right, because you know we can't decant and not have it all those metals penetrated and pulled out, all those base metals, and then we're going to have not a pretty piece of gold when we go to the melt dish. Okay, so it's about 11 o'clock at night. I started this around noon, and we're at a roll and boil because there was no reaction coming from the fumage anymore, or I'm sorry, no reaction really showing at all. There was no fumage in the solution. It settled, it was clear. So I added a little bit of nitric to it and brought it to this rolling boil, and really that's nothing other than nitric. Just burning off. So I've turned it down quite a bit, and what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to waste nitric, I'm going to melt this shot down into a button. We'll get a weight on that real quick. This is more shot from the blob project. And we are looking at 18 grams. Okay, and the reason why I'm going to melt this down is because what I have inside here is the shot made from the melting of the Karat scrap and the inquarting. So I need to be able to differentiate between that and this shot, so I need to make it solid. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, and there we go. 18 grams of shot into 18 grams of button. Finicky thing. Oh, what's going on here? There we go. A little water weight on the scale was confusing it. So I'm going to add this in real quick. Alright, round 2 of button versus meat. And that will effectively eat up the nitric that remains. And if it doesn't produce fumes here real quick, then we'll get it back at its full weight, but we're going to give it a second. Okay, as you can see with the addition of that 18 gram button, we have got quite the reaction going on right now, and you can see right where it is, right there in that back portion of the beaker. So at this point, when the fumes disappear, that should be it. If there's anything left of the button, then there's nothing else for the nitric to eat up. So stay tuned, we'll be back. Okay, so it's been an hour and I am back down here checking this. Reaction was all but done. And right back here, all the way back here is where that button was, and it looks like that has been completely consumed. So looks like I'm melting another button. Okay, mission accomplished here. 31 grams of shot into a 31 gram button. Alright, let's get it back into the reaction vessel there and see if we can eat up some more nitric. Alright, dropping it back into the same spot so I know where it's at and how it's going to react when it does. And that's quite a bit of silver that just went up. The speed total like 49 grams have gone in to denox. Okay, about 2 minutes, maybe 3 has gone by, and we are already off to the races. You can see the aggressive bubbling in the back there. That's that 31 gram 1 ounce silver button I just did, so we're gonna need time for it to run its course. And I'll check back with you guys in about an hour. Okay folks, it is about 3:15 in the morning and I've had enough, so I've thrown a big old hunk of another 51 grams of a silver button in there from a previous refining. And I didn't intend on doing this, but one thing I did intend on doing was basically redissolving and re-refining every bit of silver that I've done in the past 6 months. So this is going to push me pretty far along on that, and it's going to end up being a good thing. But I mean, look at its reaction. I don't know if I dare put another button in there or not, but hopefully this will eat up the nitric, because I'm ready to call it a day. Well, it is the next day, January 10th, and it looks like we have success. That last silver button that weighed, I believe, 51 grams is still bubbling right there, but that's from boiling. It's not producing any fumage. So I'm going to take this down, let it cool off, and see how much we have left of that button before I end up doing this, processing this. Alright, I've transferred this beaker into a larger piece of glassware. I'm adding ice around the edges here just to get it to cool down faster. I was up till almost 5 o'clock in the morning checking on this and processing this, and decided I had to shut it down and get started as soon as I got back up again. So I'm anxious to get on to the next steps, which would be filtering and a very thorough rinsing of the solid material in there, which would be our gold with hopefully all of the base metals removed. And I'm going to do a conversion of silver nitrate to silver chloride on camera this time, but I'm not going to do the conversion of the sugar and lye method today. We'll save that for another video. So once this cools down, we'll get started again. Okay, let's get some filtration done and maybe take a moment to talk about why I gave this a little bit of an exterior ice bath. I've got it up to down to 88 degrees at this point. The reason being is if you, I don't know what the magic temperature is, and I don't really even care. But the reason being is if you try to send hot liquid through a filter, you're going to have a failure and a mess. Maybe to clean up, at the very least, you'll have stuff in your filtering, your final filterings that you don't want. That is going to have to be dissolved out or filtered out later. This should flow through pretty easy. I'll have you watch the rest on time lapse. Well, here's something that I'm not happy with. I washed my vacuum flask, got it nice and clean, and forgot to rinse it out with distilled water. So that's what happens when there's iron or minerals or chlorides in your water. I have a private well, but it's I've recently found out that iron will start making this conversion too. Alright, so check this out. One of these things is not like the other. That is the remainder of this last silver button I put in there. I think it was 51 grams, but I'll verify that on my notes, that we used to eat up the rest of the nitric. And what a great way to do that, because free nitric is great, you can recover it, but I'd rather not have to. So we'll get into that shortly. Here's the remainder of that silver button that I had from a previous refining, and it was a very good refining. It was very clean. So I have verified here notes from last night. These are all the buttons I put in there. 2 of them I melted. 2 of them I had already had in my possession. But yeah, the last one was 51 grams. Let's see what is left. 4 grams. Okay. Yeah, that was too much excess, and I think I'm getting my wires crossed on the 90 to 95% red fuming nitric acid dosing. I'm gonna have to reel that in. So it's time to empty out this beaker here, and there is a little residual borax from those silver buttons on the bottom here. I've rinsed off as much as I can right now, but we're going to get a weight here. If it will cooperate with me. I've done a lot of rinses of this, so I shouldn't be exposing myself to anything terrible here. Okay. All right, and into the melt dish, this is going to go just to get it contained. The only thing that's been in this melt dish is gold. Purified gold. Being finicky here. Okay, do a quick rinse of this, so make sure everything gets recovered. All right. Okay, so in this beaker there are some very fine particulates, which I'm just going to go ahead and rinse into what's going to be the next reaction vessel, because we want it all. Some of that is still the residual from the borax, but okay, that looks super clean. But just a quick demonstration. There are some little gold flakes in there, and I really hope I caught that. I've got the camera reversed right now, so okay. So that aside for the moment. And let's get a weight. Let me reverse this. Okay, I had to do some camera adjustment there, but let's get a weight here. Okay, this has some water and some particulates in it. Right there. Some of that's gold, some of it's just residuals. All right, get it zeroed out. All right. Okay. Clean dish. That's part of my last gold melt right there. Okay, so we are at 28 grams. 28 grams of metal that we have we cleaned up. So the next step is cover it up with hydrochloric acid and just clean it. Clean it several times. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do some actually hot water rinses. This is distilled water. And I just want everything to be super clean from this point off. Alright, and I'll continue the rest off camera. Okay, we did some hot water rinses, plenty of it. And we're going to add some concentrated hydrochloric acid and just give it a good charge. It's about 200 milliliters. So just want to cover it up and then some. And we're going to transfer it over to here. Get that capped off and give it some heat. And I will be, this is where we're at, and I'll be back when I've got something to show you. Okay, so where we're at is we're going to decant this vacuum flask containing our silver nitrate into our initial reaction beaker. I think I've mentioned before that this made some silver chloride because when I washed the beaker out, I failed to rinse it thoroughly with distilled hot water, and so chlorides were made. So I'm going to rinse that off and get back to the full conversion. Okay, So now with all my glassware out of the way, we're going to use this concentrated hydrochloric acid. We're going to pour it in. We'll get a milky or a cottage cheese type reaction. And we're going to keep dumping this in until that doesn't happen anymore. And let's see if we can get a better view here. When no more of that white billowy silver chloride is made, then you know that the reaction is over. It'll settle quite quickly too. Still making it. It's actually chunky enough so this stirring rod is standing up almost on its own. It's a good complaint to have. Okay, I'm going to have to grab some more hydrochloric acid just to make sure that this conversion is done. And then I'm just going to stash this away. I'm going to put it in a different vessel and cap it off and come back to it when I'm ready to actually do a conversion. A full conversion, the sugar and lye to metallic. Okay, that hydrochloric acid boil has been going on for probably 20 minutes or so while I did some tidying up around the shop. So I'm going to do a hot water decant of that off into our temporary waste container, and or maybe into there too for this project specifically, and then do my boil of hot water too, just to make sure I get a nice good clean. Alright, so there's been about a half a dozen hot water rinses, and each time it's the same process. And with all rinsing, you want the water to come out clean. And that water coming out right now is as clear as I can tell to the distilled water vessel that it came out of. Alright, so I think I'm going to skip the actual hot water boil. Give it a couple more rinses just to feel really good about it, and then prepare for hot. Okay, I've got 200 milliliters of hydrochloric acid in there. I'll go up to the hot plate, and I am just going to dose in nitric acid as needed. And this is about 10 mil, maybe a little bit less than that right there. I'm going to give that a few minutes to start, and turn on the heat to drive that reaction. But I'm just going to be slow and methodical as possible here in getting this dissolved and not ending up with a bunch of free nitric, because I'm going to have to denox that. We are no more than 3 or 4 minutes at the most into this reaction, and it's taken off. I did put in another 10 milliliters of the red fuming nitric acid, and I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit for you. And there it is. You can see the gold just getting dissolved by that aqua regia. So this is not going to be quick, so we'll just be patient, and I'll keep you updated as there's any substantial change. Okay, we're ready to filter off this solution. It took, my notes are reading 20 milliliters of my homemade nitric acid to put all this into solution. Been waiting for it to cool down. It's finally that time. We'll get it vacuumed off into there, And I do apologize for my current setup. I just, like I said, I've changed phones, so the configuration has changed. So I'm going to try to get it set up so you can see as much of this as possible. Very cloudy right now. A fast drip on the filtration, but this is going to take a number of runs through. Okay, so that first filtering took an hour. It was just ridiculous. And the filter is absolutely packed. I mean, we're going to save it and put it into the filter stash, but I'm going to actually start off with a new filter. And you'll see the last little bit it pulled through left some cloudy stuff right here. So it'll probably take a couple more runs through a new filter, but we'll get that started right now. Okay, so this was originally in a 1 liter beaker, which is right here. I went ahead and I washed that out with like hot water, hot distilled water at that. And it doesn't hurt to clean your glass like that, because all you're going to do is recontaminate with any solids or semi-solids that get in there. And you don't have to do it, but I would say the worse it looks, the more likely it is that you should. Like I've got this, well, I mean, I put sulfuric, I forgot to catch on camera that I put sulfuric acid, a few mils into the aqua regia to precipitate out any lead. And so I don't know if that's what was in there and hacking my filter, or if it was silver chloride. But one way or the other, I'm going to take a brief pause and give this thing the same hot water rinse. Okay, second filtering. Okay, so it has been a solid hour for the second filtration, and starting to think that the sulfuric acid did drop some stuff out of solution, insolubles, and stuff that just would not want to go through the filter. But we are looking much better as far as clarity goes. It's not clear, but it's good. It's well, maybe I should say not good enough, but I'm going to set this up for another filtration or 2 or 3, whatever is necessary, and it will just take the amount of time that it takes. But everything's starting to look very, very clean, which is encouraging. Alright, and with that, I'm going to finish this rinse, set up another filter paper, because so far filter papers number 1 and number 2 were not something that a second filtration was going to go through. Okay, I will check back with you soon. Okay, so this is after, this is filtration number 2 that has been complete, and if you look through, you can start to see through the whole container, but just as it was with filtration number 1, filtration number 2, the filter got so packed that a drop would go through maybe once every 20 seconds. So we're all set up here, and we'll get right on to filtration number 3. Okay, filtration number 3. Let's see if we can get this to run through quickly or easily. I don't care about quick, but So far, so good. It's actually running ahead of me here. Oh yeah, that's going quick. We're not going to be full though. We are gonna run it again. It's almost empty. I'm barely keeping ahead of it. Looks like we're going to get a gold drop tonight. I'm very excited about that. Notice I'm catching the droplets here. So when it's running through this well, it means one of two things. Either the solution is incredibly clear at this point, or the filter isn't packed enough to catch the small particulates yet. So I'm betting on we can make it more clear than what it is right now. Yeah, that was a blitz compared to everything else that's happened tonight. That's it right there. Distilled water rinse back into here because we want to get it all. If there's sediments, that's where you'd be rinsing them out from. Okay, and clean that up. All right, let's take a look at this together. Okay, that's filtration number 3. I mean, kind of like it, but we're going to do it again. I think that there's still some stuff to be filtered. Okay, let's look at this together again. It is definitely clearer, and in part due to the fact that this filter is starting to pack a little bit. I'm hoping you guys can see that. Yeah, for sure. So we are going to do it again, and then I'm going to run upstairs real quick and grab some ice and put a couple cubes in there to drop out any silver chloride, because silver will precipitate out and onto something cold. Okay, time for filtration number 4. Okay, so our solution is even more clear now, which, you know, by design is the way it's supposed to be. I'm going to add this ice in here real quick. It's going to help us precipitate out any silver if it's in there. And I'll show you the results. I'm hoping there's none in there, but sometimes there just is. I'm not seeing any sign of it at all. Oh, it's a good day. That means that our inquarting and dissolving process went all according to plan. Everything's good. There's no, all the silver and base metals were taken out in the nitric baths, nitric boils rather. So I do like the clarity of this for the most part, but I'm going to show you what it looks like, and I'm going to run it through at least one more time. So that's looking nice and clear. I mean, you can see the shadow of my hands behind it. I'm probably not giving you the right backlighting. I get nervous manhandling this stuff, but As I move it away, you can start to see the details of my vent hood, but I think 1 or 2 more passes is what I'm going to go for, because I want it to be perfect. Okay, so here we are after 6 filtrations, and it took all of that. No silver precipitated out. You see that's nice and clear. It's just a dark green. Whatever the composition was in there. No solids in the filter. Those have already come out. And the filter was packed. It was just, you know, 1 drop maybe every second or so. So what I need to do, because this is a 1 liter beaker, this is a 500, and we are up to almost up to that 1 liter mark. I'm gonna have to divide this between the two, because most of my glass is used up, and I don't want to put it in my 3 liter beaker. So I'm gonna get set up to do that, and then we will do 1 drop at a time. Okay, so gold drop number 1 coming up here. I really dislike personally SMB. It's really tough on my lungs, so I'm going to be wearing a respirator. What you can't see is right here. I have a movable piece of plexi here, so everything's going to draft up into that. But we'll do that, you know, somewhere between 4 to 5 scoops of SMB should do it, and then we'll move on to the smaller one.
Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna give it a stir. Essentially, when the solution can't absorb the SMB anymore, it's pretty much over. Give it 1 more for good measure. Okay, and we will give that a chance for it to settle out, and on to the next. Okay, gold drop number 2. Okay, there's that brown color starting to show. Give this a stir. One more for good measure. It's not going to hurt it to put more than is required to drop the gold. There's no negative side effects to that. Except that SMB stinks. Okay, let's give that some time to do its work, and I'll check back in with you. So interestingly enough, we have some gold sitting on the top. So I'm going to give that a little spritz. Alright, and there it goes. We need it to sink.
Okay, so here's gold drop number 1. You can already see it's gone from a black solution to a gray, and it's getting lighter here at the top. Same thing with this one over here. I've put this one on some medium heat. I'm going to do the same with this one here, but that back burner just had hot water on it, so I'm going to let it cool down. I could wait for this overnight, but I mean it usually settles a lot faster than that. I'm keeping the solution anyway because my stannous chloride, my newest supply, isn't arriving until tomorrow. Monday till according to tracking. So I'm going to do a stannous test on them, but we are going to do further processing and we'll test for the presence of gold in solution on Monday. It's not the ideal, but this is what's happening. So that back burner cools down to something a lot. Well, that's not right. Less than 434 degrees, and I'll put this on it, and that gold will just drop all. Okay, 20 minutes later, it looks like our gold in that one has settled. So I'm going to turn the heat off on that one. This one here, I just put on the heat, and it looks like for the most part the gold is also settled. It just doesn't look as light as this one, maybe because it's the quantity. But regardless, very soon we're going to be taking these off, doing our first hot water rinses, then hydrochloric acid bath, and hot water rinses after that, and then we'll be on to another aqua regia for a final refining. So I think with the time and effort we spent in the recovery and refining process up to this very point, we've made a really good product here. So I will catch up with you very shortly. Okay, so this is the least complicated part of the process, but no less important than any other, because the gold is heavy. It wants to sit there. Sometimes you'll get some that's very powdery, and it's harder to decant, but at the end of the day it wants to sit there. So we'll just go about it a steady pour, slow and steady pour. And that gold is already just settling right down in the bottom of that. You can probably see it better than I can. And you see the gold, the light gold dust starting to move, then just stop. You can already see it right there. Nice little gold smile. I'm actually going to give this a little bit of a stir to try to consolidate everything into one area. Use your Corning ware to let it settle. We are on our own time. We're nearing the finish line at this point. So I'm going to let that settle and I'll be back with you. Okay, it doesn't take long. And as I'm pouring, I'm watching for any movement in there, any fine particulates making it its way towards the spout. And I'm just taking my time. You're going to lose some to the decanting flask or beaker. It's going to happen. And there it is. No detectable amount has seemed to have escaped. So that's one. It looks like the other one is ready. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one, and I'll check in with you towards the end of it. I don't need to run my yip for every part of this process.
So at the moment we're rinsing off the SMB. We're going to get all the chemicals off of it. Alright, I just got rid of that 3-liter beaker. I just can't take that SMB anymore.
Good. So that's what we have in the beaker here. Okay, I'm going to put 100 mLs in here and give it a boil. And why 100 ml? Because that's what I chose. It's more than enough to cover it, clean it, and we'll do some more hot water rinses after this is done. Okay, so we're ready to take this down off the hot plate. This has been on a rolling boil for longer than it needed to be, for about 15 minutes or so. Okay, let's get this decanted off and start with the hot water rinses. Okay, so I added some hydrochloric acid into that, and it brought that up to roughly the 200 ml line. And I have in a little mini beaker about 25 ml. It isn't going to take a fraction, hardly a fraction of that. So I'm just going to dose it in. And that was probably more than what's actually needed. Okay, we are at the point where our gold mud has been dissolved in aqua regia. I looked down there, I saw a couple specks, but I also put some sulfuric acid in there, just a couple mLs, to precipitate out any lead or whatever it may be that it will precipitate out beyond lead. And we're all set up for vacuum filtration, and we're going to get right to it and keep on with this progress. And as an update, if you look in there, that is the rest of the gold mud that precipitated out with the SMB drop from one of those beakers. I had all the pour-offs in there, so I just decanted, recovered that, and we'll see what we'll get out of that later on tonight. All right, here we go with our first filtration. This really should just power glide right through. I'm looking in the filter. I do see a couple specks of something. Who knows what it is at this point. Okay, that's round one. We've made some headway. I filtered this thing, I think 8 times, if not more. But it's crystal clear now. You can see through it. Yeah, nice amber color. So time for an SMB drop.
Just like the YouTube movies. And again, we got metallic gold sitting on top. We'll give that a spritz here. There we go. And moving on.
So here is our gold that we have worked so hard for. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. This is the last SMB gold drop here. So I'm going to rinse the SMB out of it with hot water, and then put it in a hydrochloric acid oil one more time, rinse that out with hot water, and we'll be off to the melt dish. So we're finally at the point of drying off the gold, and it's a good thing, because 2 things I want is to melt this button and to go to bed. So as soon as this is dry, we'll put it in the melt dish. And okay, we're loaded up. I don't film the melts because I don't have the setup to do that, and I just want to concentrate on safety at this point. But we will get this fired up, melted, a button, and away. If somebody were to ask me, what does a successful 3 days look like in a refining lab? Is it worth it? I would say when you make things like this, yeah, it's worth it. What else makes it worth it? Things like this. And this. And this. Makes it all worth it. Even though I have to do all these dishes. Have a good week, folks.